Let's not have like the church meeting and they want to ask us about same-sex marriage, but they take us through 3 chapters of the Bible before we get there. I mean, it is too big. Do we say there should not be a marina in Coral Bay? I don't think we are prepared to say that. The one that we have seen proposed, from the time it was proposed, we have publicly said it is too big. We don't even believe that Bay can handle it. And to be quite candid, I don't even think it can pass the muster of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
If you don't mind, I'd just like to follow up on that.
Sure.
So I'm very encouraged to hear that you believe that this marina is too large.
Yes.
And I believe, well, you have said to me that the developers of the marina were unwilling to make it any smaller.
No,
Well, that is what...
Let me clarify what I
Okay.
said, because I'm a politician, so I'm easy to be misquoted. What I said was I asked one of the developers if the reason that they made it so large was so that when there was a clamor about it, that they would be prepared to reduce it to a size that would be amenable to the community, and they get the marina. And the person responded to me, no, we wanted that size.
Okay, that's a much fairer statement of what you said. So, as you also probably know, Governor DeYoung has signed the permit for the marina at this size.
Yes.
And it has always been the opinion of the vast majority of the residents of Coral Bay and of St. John that a marina of that description would be devastating to the economy of Coral Bay, that it would drive our tourism revenues severely down. It would therefore impact the taxation revenues coming into the government, and notwithstanding what the developers have claimed would be the positive benefit, the overall benefit would be devastating to the economy. So my question for you is, if you are elected governor, will you revoke the permit which has been signed by Governor DeYoung for the Summers End Group and keep it revoked until a proposal is submitted to you which meets the public interest, which is respectful of the environment, and which the community as a whole sees as an economic benefit? You have that power under the Coastal Zone Management Act, Section 911G, so will you revoke that permit within the first 30 days if you are elected governor? This is a very, very direct, critical question.
A very direct answer.
Okay.
And my direct answer is, I first don't know that I have that power.
Well, let us just assume that you do.
No, let's not assume that I do. That would be very irresponsible.
Okay, let me recast my question. Just as you recast my statement of your words, I will recast the question. If you are advised that you do have the power to revoke the permit, will you revoke that permit within the first 30 days of your administration?
Let me answer your question. I do not know that a governor has such a power. When you use the term revoke or revocation, the instinctive reaction that my intellect tells me from my history as a regulator is the question of due process. And in America, we don't do revocations nor suspensions of anything without due process. So whether the law says the governor can revoke, it is not a revocation. It cannot be a revocation with the signature of a pen.
That is correct. What the law says is that if the governor finds that the permit is not in the public interest, then the governor does have the unilateral right under Section 911G of the Coastal Zone Management Act to revoke that permit. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. You can check with your own counsel. But that is my understanding and my attorney's understanding of what the law says. You're right, it is not without due process. It is on a finding that it is not in the public interest.
I am suggesting to you that I do not know what that specific authority is. I just added to my concern to you that there has to be a question of due process. I also said to you where the greatest opportunity becomes to deal with the issue rather than even trust the government in a series of litigation over its ability to revocate, and that the governor's finding is appropriate and legal, is an avenue called the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Yes.
You did say
Because
that.
nothing that the Coastal Zone Management Commission or the Department of Planning and Natural Resource can do in giving anybody any permit in the waters of the Virgin Islands can happen unless the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers approves it. So, let me complete my thought. So rather than, I operate differently. Rather than arguing over the head of this nail, the question is, do we want to have a project that is much more smaller and appropriate and that can add to the economy and work to achieve that, or do we want to argue who's David and Goliath between the government and the developer? And I believe, and Osborne and I are not asking to get elected, for the first thing we do in office is to begin to mar ourselves in wholesome litigation on issues in the economy. We want to resolve them. We want to bring the concerns of the community to the table and the best interest of the community to the table with whomever wants to do some kind of investment. And if we make a decision that a particular investment is not good for the territory, we want to be able to say that and move on. But I'm not going to go back and try to it's just bad governance to go in and start, well, the governor did this, I know I'm going to undo it. You have people that aren't interested in building marinas. They're interested in doing all kinds of other investments in the territory, and they're looking at what the word of the government is. And I'm saying I come from the country, if we can skin this cat in a manner that works for all of us in a different way, I don't care about revoking a permit. We're not trying to get elected to establish our power. Just get to what in the end of the day works for our community and the people that lives in the community.
Thank you. I think we should move to the third question, because I think the answers you've given will probably give rise to some more questions when we open up the mic to the floor.
That's fine.
So my third question has to do with education. You've spoken very, very eloquently about your commitment to education and your specific plans. You may know that one of the very best schools in the entire Virgin Islands educational system is located just a short walk down the road here. The Guy Benjamin School consistently had the highest grades in student achievement of virtually any elementary school in the territory.
Yes.
And it was closed by Governor DeYoung in this past year. So my question for you is, if you are elected governor, will you issue an executive order to the Department of Education to reopen the Guy Benjamin School, the only school on the east end of St. John that has been attended for generations by St. Johnians and Coral Bay residents? Will you issue a directive to the Department of Education to reopen the Guy Benjamin School?
I don't have a direct answer for that, because I don't know, again, back to the student population. I went through to talk to you about the shrinking population of students in our education system.